The NBA is about to become the most egalitarian league in all of professional sports. And the reason being is because there are simply too many talents across the globe for the NBA to absorb into its ranks. Now look, I saw this coming over a decade ago whenever I used to play association on NBA 2K. I remember letting one of them run in particular for 30 years, 35 years, and I kept note on how many AI-generated players were coming into the league with 90, 92, 94 plus overall ratings and thinking to myself, wow, the league is super competitive right now. This is crazy. And then I thought to myself, well, what if this happened in real life? What if every single roster was loaded with all-star level talents to the point where 1 through 5 on every single team was legitimately filled by an all-star level talent? Think about how competitive the league would be. Now, if you look at today's game, that's where we're heading. Every single team is getting loaded up with all-star level talent after all-star level talent. There are so many players who are out of the league today that could be in the league, but aren't because of the limited roster spots and because of politics. Think about a guy like Dwight Howard. Yeah, he's not an all-star level player, but he could play. DeMarcus Cousins could still probably play. Carmelo Anthony could still probably play. Derrick Rose definitely could still play. Isaiah Thomas, same thing. But now the G League is absorbing these types of players. The league is becoming so flooded with talent. And this is going to be a really good thing because sooner than later, you aren't going to see any poverty franchises. Sooner than later, the Washington Wizards won't be a terrible team. They won't be winning 10, 15, 20, 22 games a year. No, they're going to be neck and neck with some of the best teams in the league because sooner than later, there will be so much talent in the NBA that every single team will legitimately be competing for the NBA title at the opening tip. In October, when the season starts, every single team will be competing for the NBA championship. And this is exactly how it should be. And what's going to be even crazier is that when this comes about, you will see bottom seeds going toe-to-toe with number 1 seeds, perhaps being a game out, 2 games out, 4 games out from number 1 in the conference. That's how compressed the standings are going to be. Teams are going to be going 500, and they're going to have to fight and claw and scrape to get in the playoffs. The play-in is going to be even more exciting. And in fact, I could see the NBA eventually doing away with the play-in and making it so that you legitimately have a March Madness style bracket where every single team is going to be in the playoffs, where you're not competing for a playoff spot, you're competing for playoff seeding so that you have home court, so that you have those psychological advantages, so that you have those emotional advantages. Perhaps there are other carrots that could be added on top with every single seed as you go up the ladder. But I really do believe the NBA is going to become that egalitarian because you look at how many great talents are in college, how many great talents are in the G League, how many players overseas that are being fostered and developed in different ways than here in the U.S., how those games are merging together, different styles, really blending into an open floor concept that is super fluid, super dynamic. The league is going to become so crazy soon. And there are going to be more calls for expansionism because people are going to want poverty franchises. People are going to want teams to win 60, 65, 70 games a year, hearkening back to Michael Jordan's Bulls, to LeBron James's best year with the Cavaliers, to the Lakers, to the 76ers, to the Golden State Warriors. They're going to want those teams, but in my opinion, they shouldn't. I would love the league to be so competitive, so deep, that every single team legitimately has a chance to win the NBA title from the opening tip at the beginning of the year. Now, it may not be so competitive to the point where you really do have every team in every conference sitting around 500, where you have tiebreakers deciding standings. It may not be legitimately that competitive because I don't even know if that would work numbers-wise. I did fail math 3 times. But when you look at every single roster in the future, you're going to say to yourself, wow, I don't know what team is better than another team. It's going to come down to play styles. It's going to come down to dynamics, as in, do you have matchups that you can exploit in your schedule? It's really going to come down to scheduling in the future, because you're going to have to exploit matchups. You're going to have to exploit different mismatches, and you're going to have to game plan for the whole 82 games to make sure that you make every single advantage, every single mismatch count, so that you can actually make the playoffs or get a good seeding if it were to become a March Madness style event. I really do think it's becoming that talented. I mean, look at the Spurs, for example. They have Victor Wembanyama. They have De'Aaron Fox, who they just traded for. They might end up getting a top 3-5 pick because both of those people are injured. And, of course, they also have Stephon Castle, who's really, really good. And their roster's not bad around those guys either. And that's just one example. The Wizards are going to get some talent. They don't have bad talent now. They're just not as good as other teams. The Pistons are very, very good. The Rockets are very, very good. The Grizzlies are good. The Lakers are good. The Clippers are good, even though they're being run by vets. James Harden somehow still balling. Yeah, he's shooting 39%, but he's still balling at 36 years old. Right? The league is becoming so much deeper because people are playing longer. Players are lasting longer. Kevin Durant's Achilles would have knocked out so many other players in the past. It did with Dominique. It did with other guys. But now, that's not the case. Players are lasting longer. So watch as this happens. The league is going to become way more egalitarian. You're going to have players playing longer. You're going to have teams becoming deeper and more talented. You're going to have the standings compress. I don't think you're going to be seeing 65, 70 win teams anymore soon. I think the Thunder, with their big advantage in the standings, the Cavs with their big advantage in the standings, that's going to become more and more unlikely as the years go on, because teams are going to be so talented, the schedules are going to be so rigorous, and the game is going to be so dynamic and fluid that you won't be able to take nights off. And you're just not going to be able to win that many games because you're not going to get that lucky all the time. And if you do, well, then eventually it's going to run out, because you're going to need some luck to win a title. You're going to need some luck to really hop up in the standings. It's not necessarily going to be based on talent or coaching. It might just be bounces soon, because that's how talented this league is going to be. But with that, I ask you, do you think the league is going to become more egalitarian? Or do you think you're going to see more of these teams really shooting up to the top of the rankings, where they're getting 50, 55, 60 wins quick? They're dominating the competition like you see this year with Cleveland and OKC. Let me know in the comments. But with that, I say much love, peace. This is the new Da Vinci. Have a blessed evening or day, depending on what time it is for you. Oh, and if you've watched this far, let me know who your MVP is for this year. Jokic? SGA? I got to know.